Hello, my name is Mike Reed, and I'm coming to you today with on this day, August 2nd, 2023. And what I'm doing today is just a little quick reaction video to Rich Malachy's live stream. His show is called Fired Up. He does a live stream once a week where he talks about industry, just industry topics. And I'm going to show you. I'm going to start in on a little bit on this video. And we have starts off with three people in the industry, and then they add in a fourth. So three guys that are second gen service company owners, and then another guy who's really like a first gen that kind of making way for the second wave. Right. So without further ado, let me get into this. But once again, before I do that, real quick, this is Mike Reed, and I'm bringing you industry news and topical information that can help you out with dealing with the commercial industry as far as appliances are concerned. So here we go. Now, I had to take off the sound. So fair use. I did get permission from Rich to go ahead and use his video. So, but once again, fair use. This is used for educational purposes. And right about now, here we go.
It's Wednesday. It's 2 p.m. Do you know where your industry is at? Lisa?
I like that. That's pretty cool, actually.
We're getting it up on the fly. We're firing the hell up here in this building. There's a lot going on already this week. It's hump day. Lisa, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you today, Rich?
Lisa, I'm fired the up. I bleed myself out. Conversations this morning really got me going. And truth be told, we've been anticipating this episode because it's really something that's, a big elephant in the room in the industry of how things have kind of brought us to where we are today. OEM parts distribution, where it was, where we are, all the stuff in between. And I think what this is really going to be about is about change. It's about talking about the issues. Again, I'm not looking to roll people on the buses.
Rich has always got a lot of energy, so he likes to keep this moving. And just so you know, just so you're not weary of it, leery of it, I'm going to skip through. So I just wanted you to experience a little bit of the video, and then he's going to introduce two of his other guests, and then we're going to skip forward throughout and get some of their questions and answers. All right. There we go.
I'm not looking to bash anybody. We're not looking to do any of that. That's not what this is about. This is about starting conversations, important ones that need to be had, and not brushing them under the rug, and not just in those little circles that we have at conferences, right? So that's what Fired Up is for. That's Fired Up about tons of industry topics, the good, the bad, the ugly, right? And today we'll probably have a little bit of all of that. So I have two industry leaders with me. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but at least you can bring them in. We have Josh Nolan from Windy City. We have Nathan Miller from Coastline. And we're all in different markets. So it's really going to be an interesting conversation to see how things kind of are.
Okay, just so you know, Rich Malachy, upper left-hand side. He is New York and New Jersey, or New York and Long Island. Please excuse me, East Coast. I can't remember which exactly two locations he's in. Well, yeah, New Jersey. So he just purchased another service company, which was in a separate area, which gave him, I believe, like Long Island or New York, something like that. but he's in New Jersey, and he purchased another company, I believe in like Long Island. So that's his market. Now down at the bottom center, that's Josh Zolan. He is Phoenix and he is Houston, right? Where I am. So, and then the one on the right, that's Nathan Nolan. This is Nathan? Nathan Miller. He's Nathan Miller. He is Coastline, and I kind of vaguely remember seeing Coastline back when I lived in Florida. This was 16. I lived in Florida 16 years ago. So that was back when his father had the company. But I kind of maybe I remember it, maybe I don't. I don't know. But the name vaguely sounds familiar. But the top left and bottom center, I'm very well aware of those two guys.
Kind of the same in all of our markets in this instance, in this conversation, I think. And we'll see if there's any differences, but I'll let these guys introduce themselves. Nathan, why don't you introduce yourself first?
Nathan Miller. I'm the vice president at Coastline Cooling down in Florida, and I am also one of the Cefesa board of directors.
Yes, sir. Welcome, welcome. And we got
Thank you.
another guy here that a few people might know. Who we got here, Josh?
Who? No, I'm
Who?
just kidding. Who? Hey, guys, I'm Josh. If you don't know me, CEO of Windy City Equipment, author of Blue is the New White, director on Cefesa's board of directors, and probably some other things that I can't remember. Host of a podcast, Blue is the New White. And that's about it. That's about it. Father of two, incredible
Yeah, you can
husband.
find him on the website.
There you go.
And then that's the name of Rich's Fed Group.
So guys, we're here today. We're talking about OEM parts distribution. Usually we might be lining up some questions and some things of that nature, but I think if we just kind of go back and kind of look at where things were when I started here in the industry. I know back in the late 90s, coming out of high school, early 2000s, there was all kinds of different structures in place. Nathan, how long, give a little background maybe, Nathan, how long have you been in the industry?
Yeah, I was looking at your the label on this conversation, distribution from 1999. I think I was in middle school, man. So
Yeah,
I'm not going to be a
no.
whole lot of help.
That's okay.
Yes. I've been in the industry nearly 15 years now. Kind of started, my father has been in it since, high school, and I started helping out, off and on elementary.
And basically, that's the story of these three gentlemen here. Rich took over from his father, upper left. Josh joined up with his father down there at the center. He joined up with his father in Arizona. And they took off like a rocket from there. And then this young man at the top right is saying how, he kind of grew up dealing with his father and it just came into the fold when he got older. So I'm going to skip forward. So I wanted to get
Nathan, how important would you say are parts and their margins to your business?
Yeah, I think Josh nailed it. Not a whole lot to add there, but especially when you do, depending on who you're working for, whether that's, when you're working for a manufacturer, you're not billing them for the most part for your parts. That labor rate needs to be higher. That's kind of what has been talked about forever, right? And then you have the other common train of thought that maybe those work orders are leads for the business, for those techs to go.
And that's what I'm trying to explain to everyone else is that when you do work for the manufacturer, everyone is well aware that it's not that much money involved. And it's the same thing if you're doing work for these third party, like these facility management companies. It's not that much money involved. I mean, it's good, steady work, but it's not that much money. So it's everything has its place. But that's what Nathan was explaining, that you're not even making money off of parts when you're doing the stuff at the factory. But what you are doing is gaining a potential client.
Gather a couple new clients that maybe you didn't have access to before that manufacturer sent the dispatches in. But no, just in general, I would say they could be as much as 50% of a total margin on a bill, all the way up to 80% of a
Sure.
total bill. How about, do you see the same thing that we see, Josh?
Yeah, that's about right. And it depends on a lot of different factors, like you said.
Yeah.
You know, who the customer is, whether they're a manufacturer, a third-party provider, or, you know, an end user. I mean, all of that comes into play. But at the end of the day, you know, the point here I think that we're trying to drive home is that parts, as an offering from a service company, are incredibly important, you know, to our bottom line.
Correct. And we sell two things. We sell time and we sell parts. And like you said, I think there's such a misunderstanding or realization. I don't know. I don't know if it's just for lack of the knowledge or understanding of what goes into these labor costs. But like you said, you're putting in all the technologies, all the insurances, the inventory, the overhead of the office, the actual technicians' pay rates, the 401ks,
Oh,
the
yeah.
paid time off, the vacation. This is all stuff that labor affects. So yeah, I mean, that's great. We have to have our labor rates, but the part sale, and I'm not talking about we need to go in there and start selling parts. We want to be the ones to sell the part when it's time. That's the point. So I'll ask you this, guys. This is a big question. How many customers are calling you today saying, I have the part, can you come install it? And what are you doing? Nathan?
Yeah,
Oh,
I honestly,
okay.
we're not installing it.
Right, and he's laughing. He's laughing. Let me make this big enough for you. He's laughing, right? Because that is a big no-no. People will try to present to you parts and things like that they've purchased from who knows where, but no, that is definitely something that the other players in the market aren't doing. And my sister is actually on the chat, so if you want to come on, you don't have to put yourself on the camera because I know you weren't ready for me. But if you wanna come on up, Madonna, I put the link down there. It should be able to click on it. If not, let me know. If you want to come up and talk, since we're talking about families in the business anyway.
We're not really getting those calls either. I think we've trained our customers pretty well. We have a form that goes out, especially for new accounts, that kind of give them a playbook on how we operate. If they want to partner with us, these are the things that you need to know about how we operate, and that's not one of them. I know some people will install it, but they'll waive their warranty. We just won't install it.
No.
How about you, Josh?
Yeah, pretty much the same. You know, I mean, listen, we don't create policy around exception either. And there are some circumstances in which I will waive that just out of respect for the relationship. But it all depends, it's all contingent on that. Who's the customer, you know?
Right.
But as a rule of thumb, no, we do not install parts that we don't provide. There's just too much risk in it, to your point, Nathan. You know, and yeah, we can and we have waived warranty on parts. Anytime we do make that exception, it comes with a waiver of warranty, obviously, you know, on that. But we don't like to do that, and we don't get the request often because every time we do, we have the conversation. And I think it's fair to note too that our best customers aren't asking.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, no, I agree. And for us, it's the same thing. You know, we let them know this is a liability. And I wouldn't say it's not that it's happening at an alarming rate, but it does happen. And they're
Right. No warranty. You got to have them sign a waiver practically. Hey, look, you know, I understand maybe it's a certain circumstance. The factory says, hey, look, we want you guys to put this on or something like that. Yeah, but if they're just buying their parts from God knows where, yeah, that's usually a no-no.
there is one of those things where, okay, let's look at the customer. Let's look at the relationship. Let's see, okay, they do X amount of dollars a year. Every once in a while, they're going to say, hey, I'm going to supply just this. Was that, you know, they'll even say, is this okay if we supply just this? Okay, you know what? In that instance, I'll let that slide. But it's I would say 98 to 99% of the time, we're not doing that. And you know, I think if I put a PSA out to the service industry, I would say everybody should stick together in that. don't install customer supply parts. There's too much risk. There's too much liability, and we all need to kind of stick together in that, because the death of the part sale could be the death of the service company. It's that important. And I even have a quick story of a chain account that we had here for many years that decided to call up, and they said, listen, we're going to start supplying these, and these, because we're going to be getting a better discount from so-and-so. And I said, well, I'm sorry. Any thoughts on that, guys?
I'm going to fast forward a little bit.
It's very true.
Yeah.
Yep.
It was, just to sum it up, it was just it was a chain it was going to source their parts from somewhere else. They weren't going to buy it from his company, and he decided to cut ties with them.
We
And that
we
was
have
20
those
locations.
we have hard conversations with those customers. Yeah, it's not fun, because they expect you to get the deepest discount. You're the area pro.
Right.
You should be getting that contractor deep discount, right? No one should be able to have a better discount than you in their eyes. But there are instances where it is flip-flopped, and we're having those hard conversations as well.
Yeah. What else we got, Lisa?
So we've got, who do we have to thank for customers having the part? Not naming names, but we all know who.
Yeah, talking about parts
So,
town.
yeah, I mean, listen, this is the conversation, because from my perspective, and I get a lot of phone calls and emails. Obviously I'm very active in the industry, so people do reach out to me and they say, what are you doing here? And they send me this, and I look at this, and I'm like, well, I'm kind of in the same boat. I for one think that there should be regulations in place. I'm sorry, I know we can't shut the internet down. There's whatever, but for the main distribution channels in our industry, and I put that on you guys. What do you think? I mean, am I crazy? Should there be regulations, and should ASAs and service companies be the ones that are locked in to get the discounts, and nobody else should? I mean, is that fair?
Is it regulation, or is it respect, or is that?
See, it's such a wild west with this market, with this industry. There is no regulation. There's no restriction, that type of thing. Now, what they're really getting down to is this what I like to equate to is kingdoms. So each one of them has their own kingdom. And that's what being an authorized service agent in your market is basically you have your own lands that you're over, and no one else is really going to be able to touch you in that market. And what is happening now is there's been a huge shift where who had the parts. It's like I showed you guys. I found a bunch of parts the other day that for units that are on back order. He who has the parts has the customer. If you have a customer, then you get the money. So this is what they're discussing. And there's no way that somebody can lock you out, especially now. So now the parts are just, you can order parts from Parts Town. You can get parts from Amazon. You can get parts from eBay. And then there's all these other crazy third-party parts distributors out there. So the power dynamic is shifting in the market, and it's allowing people like you to get in. But there's still a hierarchy, and that's kind of like what everybody's sorting through right now.
Got a different conversation.
I mean, no, I mean, and that's a great question too.
I don't know. Nathan, why don't I pitch this to you before I say something I regret?
I come from the approach of not feeling entitled. That could just be me, but I'm not gonna just assume they're gonna give us the deepest discount. When we're negotiating those ASA contracts, that's where we're gonna make sure we're winning. And just about everyone we gets redlined. I don't know about you guys, but it's a negotiation. From their standpoint, what's in it for them. And that's kind of how we approach every conversation with them. Obviously, we're going to negotiate parts discount. We're going to make sure that's, if not at the high, we're always going to make sure that's at the top tier, in the 50, at least 50% range if we can. And then from that, there's other ideas we can kind of throw in. What's in it for the manufacturer? We'll respond faster.
There it is right there. What's in it for the manufacturer? Becoming an authorized service agent, becoming the authorized service provider, which is why I always stress, hey, go ahead and get the training, become authorized. So then you can get your parts discount, and you can get listed with possibly listed with the manufacturer, get calls diverted your way. And what they're talking about is the push and pull, and what power that they do have in this scenario is the response. So if you have a good working relationship with a manufacturer, you give them a quick and rapid response. You're more attentive to their clients, to their customers. But if you don't, now then you slow it up. And I think right now he's gonna mention that I think his calls are a couple of days behind.
We can resolve that repair faster.
If not,
I don't know about you guys. We're on a 2 to 3 day lead time for random service calls. If we don't have the parts, then it's going to be another 2 to 3 days. So if they want to stock those parts in our warehouse, we'll have it fixed within 2 days versus going into next week, getting it repaired.
So let me put it to you this way, Nathan, because I've had these conversations with someone, with a couple of different people recently, and I understand the negotiations with the manufacturer and all that, and to get the 50. That's all well and good. So you got the 50, but now one of your good customers, one of your mid customers, whatever, calls you and says, "Well, you're charging me $100 for a part that you get now." Let's say that realistically, that $100 part you get it for 50, right? You got 50 off, but that customer went and made a phone call and did what they did, and they get 35. Are you gonna say, "Okay, I'll max that and work on a 15% part margin"?
Nah, again, like, to do business with us, you're agreeing to our terms. We're billing everyone list price, and if we're not getting a good enough discount, we're charging over list price. So we got to hit the expected parts margin to make our labor rate make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Sure.
The second we start to work around and accommodate, these exactly what we're talking about now is it's a very slippery slope, right? And I think that's not good for our businesses, and I don't think that's good for the landscape of the service industry as a whole, right? Is the more companies that start doing this, the more the pendulum swings, and it can be detrimental to margins across the board. To your original point, Rich.
I mean, that's it. Not that I want people to get angry. I mean, I'm from Jersey, so everything makes me angry, I guess. But I get pissed off at certain things when I see it. It's not about entitled. I don't feel entitled. I want to work for everything. I don't want anything handed to me. But I think what's right is right. I mean, if I've given this scenario to.
Yeah, there's a definite shift, and it has really changed the way the business operates. So all of you coming in right now aren't aware of it, but you're coming in a very tumultuous time.
I'm sure you guys have too. I had to talk to a chain account because they were going to supply their part that they get for 35% off, and I said, well, are they going to come and put it in for you? Are they going to be there on Friday if something happens again? What are they doing versus what we're doing? We're going to come in, we're going to give you a certified tech. We're going to be there for you 24/7. We're going to install it. We're going to warranty it for an industry-leading 180 days that we do here in our market. We're going to stand behind everything. I can't give you.
And there it is. That That is the difference between just some guy going out there doing the work and someone that is a trained professional. That is what determines your labor rate, your knowledge, the experience, everything that goes along with it. Like he says, he provides a warranty. You call them, they respond. He actually has a full staff of people to support his techs out on the road. So all of that goes with the labor. All of that goes with it. Let me hit play and then
That
I
price.
have
And what if I walked
in
into
here.
your location with everything I walked in with the meat, I walked in with the bread. I said, I love the way you guys assemble sandwiches. Instead of
Oh,
charging me
my
$10.50, I'm gonna pay $2.50 because you guys are gonna pay your guy to put it together. That place is not gonna be in business. And neither will we. So I think the conversation is we have to fight and talk about these things that are happening before it's too late. So
Yeah.
we have Vinny.
Yeah, I got Vinny in here. Let me bring him in.
So we got an old school perspective here. Vinny.
Good
down in
afternoon,
Pompano
everybody.
Beach.
Hey, Vinny.
Hey, Josh, Nathan, how are you, Lisa?
Hello.
How you guys doing? All right?
Doing good.
Doing good.
man.
All righty.
Welcome to the
Yeah,
party.
I just wanted to join this. Rich, you guys are bringing up a lot of good points about a lot of this, and after 30-something years doing this, it's this has been a problem for a long time.
Right. So Rich added in a little of the old school. He's sprinkling in a little of the old school for a nice perspective. They didn't really hear him out, but he's
The
there.
manufacturers' contracts that they issued, and Rich, you could probably attest to this, that when you first signed on as an ASA for these companies, there were territories, there were parts restrictions, like being
Yes.
in New York, and I had the Long Island market locked up. Like I couldn't sell a fryer computer in Queens to one of my own customers if I wanted to. It was very strict back then. But through the
Mhm.
years, one of the big coffee places, national chains, started buying parts directly
Starbucks.
from a fryer manufacturer, which I was unaware of. And you need to change a computer or a gas valve or something. And the customer starts saying, well, we're going to buy our own parts because they're getting a better discount themselves other than yourself as an ASA. And I was like blown away by that.
Right.
They want us to warranty the part. They want us to go through the
Yes.
return process and keep track of it and everything else. And you don't even make your percentage, which was cut down over the years. You went from making 50% profit to 40% profit. Then they started changing all.
Right. This is nothing like what you're experiencing now. What it used to be, is, like he said, it was 50%. Used to make 50% on the parts. Now the parts were a whole lot cheaper then, but 50% is still 50%. All right, I'm gonna keep
the lines
going.
where you get 48 here and 52 there and 60 here and this and that. It just became ridiculous to keep up with everything.
Yeah.
100%.
Then you get these multi-chain locations
Mm-hmm.
that would call and say, well, they have 15 locations, and the parts houses would automatically just give them a
Give a
discount.
discount. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, no, I mean, it is something that's been going on for some time. Do we have any more questions or comments? We'll jump in and get some.
You go back to
yeah.
the beginning of time when the company up in northern New York.
So
You go back to the
Facebook
beginning
user.
of New York. The people up in
So you can
Plattsburgh
see
there,
what the question
when they
is.
started selling parts to the end.
Northern, I remember them.
Oh,
We
oh,
lost
he
them.
dropped. So a regulation would be fine, but you know who owns ASA, so that their end run around, and that's their end run around a regulation. So essentially,
Well,
It might not.
once again, what they're talking about is Partstown. So Partstown stores all the parts for the manufacturers. Partstown is selling the parts not only to service providers, but they're also selling the parts directly to the customer. So anyone could buy parts. And it didn't used to be that way. It was more like air conditioning, where you had to be an actual technician. You had to prove that you were a technician in the industry, and then you can go ahead and buy the parts. But Parts Town has changed all that. So there's no regulation. There never has been regulation. And there's no way to actually implement some type of regulation. All right. And this is about winding down. I'm only halfway
Listen,
through,
I'm just talking, thinking out loud. I'm
30
not saying
minutes
it's
into a
realistic, but
1 hour interview, but
anyway, for conversation's sake.
it's
Okay,
all
what
pretty
else you
much
got?
all the same.
The distribution model through wholesale suppliers to contractors is how every trade currently does business today. It allows the contractor to have access to parts in a timely manner without holding inventory, square foot, and cash flow hostage. Strategic partnerships are key to success.
Can I respond to that?
Please, that's our boy Jeff.
Yeah. Thanks,
Yeah, these
Chad.
are all
That's,
industry
and
people on this.
I see it's hard for me here because all the things that we're talking about, you know, I mean, respect came into the conversation, you know, regulation came into the conversation, procedure. And I think it's important to note that personally, I'm a capitalist. I'm a supporter of the free market, you know, and I fully and utterly understand the concept actually behind, you know, this topic at hand. You know, from a business
we all do.
standpoint.
We all do.
I get it, you know, but I think there's something in Jeff's point there to where, you know, there's a best of both worlds situation. It's not about swinging the pendulum one way or another. It's about finding the balance. Right. And I try to apply that to several areas of my life, not just in
Fair use. Fair use. This video is used for educational purposes. I don't know what he's talking about much about balance, to be honest with you.
You know, and I'm with you on that. It is, listen, I'm all for capitalism. I mean, again, this is not about crying about it. Listen, we're all gonna put our big boy or big girl pants on every day, and figure out ways to adapt around it all, which we're doing here. And I'm sure you guys are doing too. You do everything you have to do. It's just, you know, I think this is a big conversation that's been ongoing, and I think there's a lot of stuff going on here in 2023, as we know. So I think it's a good conversation. But yeah, I agree with you on that. What else you got, Lisa?
Another good comment here. What is the root problem? There aren't enough OEM parts distributors. There needs to be more OEM parts distributors to ignite competition, drive down costs, and eliminate consolidation. Consolidation creates control without repercussions.
Once again, everything goes to Parts Town. Everything is going towards Parts Town. That is what everybody's talking about. Let me take myself off the screen so you can see this person's comment. So OEM is original equipment manufacturer. As far as original equipment manufacturer parts distributors, there's only two. There's only two. You have All Points and you have Parts Town. Between All Points buying up 4 or 5 different part suppliers and Parts Town buying up everyone else, there isn't anyone else. I mean, you have like Coast in California, you have All Points, and then you got like Parts Town. But Coast really just deals with, I believe, just refrigeration. All right, I'm gonna go press play on this, and then we're
The
almost
question
done with
becomes,
this
how
video.
do service companies diversify to support and up and coming OEM distributors? Private equity has been prevalent in the space and focuses on margin and continued growth. The odds of private equity groups having sympathy for service companies is unlikely if there is no competition to give them a run for their money.
Private equity, what she's talking about is Parts Town is a hedge fund. A hedge fund owns Parts Town. Parts Town's from Chicago, and then this guy, he's able to deliver greater returns from a physical business than he could in the stock market for his investors. So his investors don't care. If he can take 1 billion and turn it into 2 billion, they say do what you've got to do to take the 1 and turn it into a 2. If you can take 2 and turn it into 4, do that. 5, turn it into 10, do what you got to do. And so he has bought Parstown, and then in turn, he then bought service companies to ensure that Partstown would have a steady flow of parts. And so it became a never-ending feedback loop. So he owns service companies that go out and provide the service that in turn are using the parts from his parts supply company. And then he's charging the manufacturer for the parts and he's charging for the labor. So he's got a nice little racket and he's able to deliver the returns and he's a financial. This has turned him into a financial wizard. So you have hedge funds now in all different industries, and they're all in the parts, the appliance business now.
Yes.
Do we know who said that?
That was Ray Bartolomucci.
That was Ray Bartolomucci. There you go.
Nice work, Ray. Yeah, I think there's a lot of truth in that. I mean, to your point, that's self-regulation. That's what that is competition creates that.
Yeah, we won't have
And
any
I think
competition
that's where we
anytime soon.
we definitely are going to see some changes and some different things happening
No, we
for
won't.
sure.
No.
I'll just bring in a couple more here.
Yep.
Too many upstart manufacturers that use free or cheap parts to sway clients to their brands.
Who's
The
this
market is
guy?
broken.
Market is broken. That was Mike. What's going on, Mike?
Who's that guy?
Anything else we got going on?
Nathan, I keep seeing your mouth open like you're about to say something. I'm like waiting with bated breath over here. Like, what kind of bomb is
Nathan, please jump in anytime.
I'm taking it all in. I'll jump in when I'm ready.
All right, you got it.
A lot of the comments are about the same, around the same subject, so
Yeah.
we're good to keep rolling.
Good to keep rolling. So, Josh, what's going on at Windy City Equipment? Let's, I know we've had different conversations and things that are going on. What's going on at Windy City Equipment?
Okay.
Do you have any because I know you guys are very.
All right. That'll be about it for that. Just wanted to give you guys a little inside knowledge, a little inside information that it's not just me giving you guys, talking about this stuff. It's people at the very top of the industry that are deeply involved with this. I'm on a bunch of calls like this that are talking about parts, a bunch of calls that are talking about our rate, right? A lot of people are asking me about service fee and rates and things like that. And it's a constant everyday battle. My rate in Houston is different than the rate that Rich is paying in New York. Well, the rate that he's getting in New York, and it's different than what the Miller guy is getting in Florida. So the rates are it all depends on your market, what kind of expenses you're going through. Oh, excuse me. So I just wanted to sum this up. Let's let you guys know a little bit about what else is going on in the industry so you can hear from other people other than myself. Make sure you check out Rich Malachy. He's on Facebook with his group, the Fed Group. He's actually on YouTube and Instagram. Right? He's on YouTube with Fired Up. Let me see if I could drop this in the chat. I'm going to drop this in the chat. And you guys can click on that link. And then it's also in the description. Okay, it's also in the description. So, and then Josh Zolan, he has a podcast every Friday. and it won't. It's not always about appliances. He brings on electricians, like female electricians, female plumbers, architects, things like that. He brings on different people. He's really against college education and the high fees and everything. And he likes to show that people can make good money without having to pay for college education. And he brings all kind of people on. Now, let's see here. Part supplier consolidation. This is from my apps. Part supply consolidation at all levels is bad. Yes, it is extremely bad. It's really been a pain. I didn't include it in the video, but we've all been fighting with this whole thing back and forth. Like me, my situation, I used to have a deep discount on over 35 different brands with Parstown. And overnight, they took away that discount. So on Parstown, I pay the same amount as a customer would pay on Parstown. It doesn't matter. It doesn't even matter if I order through my account, right? It doesn't matter. This, even being a service provider for Parstown, Parstown will call me and say, "Hey, we got a service call in this." I'm like, dude, you realize you're calling me to run a service call, and I don't even get a discount on the parts. Disjointed. It's nuts. It's nuts. So I will order from All Points, and then a couple other people online, and then you guys have seen me go to Nomar Part Supply here in Houston, and he'll order parts for me, actually from Europe, and yeah, mainly from Europe. He speaks French and Spanish, and he speaks a little Italian. And so he'll actually get me parts right from Europe, and he gets them shipped next day. Well, he gets them shipped by air freight. So you guys can watch the replay. I just wanted to come up real quick, show that video, show what else is going on, introduce you to some players in the market, in the industry. All three of those guys are in Safesa. One or two of them. One was the head of Safesa. At one time, I think Josh was elected president of Safesa, and a few years back. So, you know, those are definitely the high rollers in the market. So you can always watch from the clouds, as they say. Before I end this, any other questions? Any other questions before I end this? Recap real quick on training that you have Frymaster training coming up in I believe it's in California. You have in North Carolina, Winston-Salem at the Ally Group facility. You have Carpegiani coming up. That's the K3 training specifically, and that's the K3 machine that's in all the McDonald's. All right, student info. Okay, what is the benefit? What is the benefit of Safesa? All right, so in a nutshell, the benefit of Safesa, let me add, the benefit of Safesa is that they offer training. Do you have a link or have office hours? You mean a link? You talking about a link to myself? Hold on one second. Let me get rid of this. You mean a link to myself? So the benefit of Safesa is the training. Training is foremost. Second is that once you're finished with that training, now you're actually on the Safesa list of trained professionals. So now, for instance, I am not Safesa, right? I am not Safesa, but I'm able to twist some arms. You are not. So you go out and a customer says, "Hey, I got this brand new item, and I need a manufacturer authorized person to take care of it." you would not be able to take care of that because you are not authorized by the manufacturer. And they say, okay, well, you're not authorized by the manufacturer. Are you SFESA certified? Are you SFESA trained? Are you in their system? And if you're not, then the manufacturer, nobody's going to be, they're not going to let you work on it. Right. So, like a consultant link for coaching. Yeah. Yeah. I'll put it on my that's my email. I'll put my email in the chat. That's my email. You guys can hit me up and I can give you a little something from here to there. So once you're SFESA certified, they will let you install items. The manufacturers, you'll get a ton of work. You'll get a ton of work because then you're authorized to install fryers for Frymaster, fryers for Pitco, walk-in boxes, like that training I was showing you guys, the walk-in boxes. You'll be authorized to do all of that for everybody. There's actually no one that would not let you do anything. All right, you would instant open door, instant open door. Now, Sefesa costs about $3,000. So, it's no, you will not get leads. It doesn't. None of this works like that. You will not get leads from Sefesa. Sefesa is a directory, right? It's a directory and it's an organization. So it's your membership to the club, right? It's like saying you're a union member, right? Say, oh, are you a union carpenter? Are you a union electrician? It's that same type of deal. Sefesa is a very small organization with only a few people working for it. It doesn't. None of these things are set up to churn out a bunch of leads. None of this, as you just saw in that video. No, it's a training facility. Son of Knock, it's a training facility. They do a ton of training. They do a ton of training. Let me do this for you guys real quick. Let me do this. Right. Sefesa. So any of this training that you want, Sefesa has it. Now Sefesa made it where you can't even get their training without being a Sefesa member. So the EGSW, that's electronic gas, steam, and water. Right. $850 for the class, and they have to train the trainer. Here we go. Pizza oven training. Pizza oven training. Let me see if you guys are able to see this. Okay, you can. Hold on, let me move this over so I can see the chat. So, Sefesa training is full. It's always full. You have to be a member. It used to be open, but then once I started talking about it, not necessarily because of me. It's not directly because of me, but when I started to tell people about training class, I started to tell people about Sefesa, then it locked it down. They kind of locked it down. So you have to be a member. Before you didn't have to be a member. The classes were twice as much. So if a class was 700, if you were a Sefesa member, it was 1,400 if you were a non-Sefesa member, which was fine for somebody like me because I would go ahead and take this pizza oven training class, and the pizza oven training class would cover Blodgett. Shoot. It would cover Blodgett and Turbo Chef's oven and XLT, and all of them would have a trainer come, and it would be it's from the 18th to the 22nd, right? Just pizza ovens. And then once you were done with that, you were good to go with everybody's oven. There's no pizza oven out there that you wouldn't be able to service. So it was a wonderful thing. It was well worth the $1,400. But now you got to pay for the membership. So for someone like you guys that are upstarts, I would definitely pay for the Safesa training. It's a good route to go. For somebody like me that's I'm already doing it. People already have to call me. So it's not like I'm already a known individual. Somebody like you that's not known, this is a very good way to get known. It's a very good way to get established. Well, it's their son of knock. Do they gatekeep the membership? No. I mean, anybody who pays the money, if you pay the $3,000, they'll go ahead and give you the membership, but you still have to pay for the class. So it's $3,000 annually plus the class. Plus the class. So, and then it's not just, yeah, they have their trainers, but they actually have the factory trainers from the manufacturers to come and do the classes. So instead of zigzagging and going to Kansas City and doing the XLT training and then flying over to New York and then doing that, going to Chicago, going to do the rationale training and this, that, and the other, and you just go one place. Go to Safesa's headquarters, take the class, and be done with it. And be done with it. Oh yeah, yeah, it's $3,000, but this is big business, right? So the new tech training, that's the NTT. This is how Safesa's set up. This is a specialized training course, right? So you can hire your techs, ship them off to Safesa, and they will come back ready to rock and roll. So, yeah, this is what all the not all the manufacturers, I mean, all the service companies are doing. Those three guys that you saw, if they hired someone, they would send them into this program. And then they would come back and they would put them in the van and make money with those guys. All right. So, how do you like installation versus repair? Student info, I've been doing this since I'm 15 years old. I'm 47. I've always done installs since I was 15. I've done delivery and install since I was 15 years old. So I like installations. And actually, my sister is here. I don't know where the hell she went to. I like installation. The reason why I like installation is because once all the conditions are met, it's all on me. I come in there, I set everything up the way I want it to be done, right? I craft it my own way. I do it the way as I feel it should, as I know it should be done according to factory specs. And that's kind of like my claim to fame is that if I put it in, if I do it, it's going to be right. If I do have to make some kind of unusual install, it's still going to be in a way that the factory will look at that and go, yeah, that needed to be done. That needed to happen. So install, it's okay. Versus repair. Repair, you have install, you're there to do it. Repair, the customer at any time can say, man, $2,000 for that. Maybe I'll go ahead and buy another one. Or we had that for about 15, 20 years. Maybe it's time for another one. So that's the problem you have with repair. Also with repair, you get involved with the job and then, yeah, you need the gas valve, but now you need a high limit, or the targets on the burners are also in bad shape. And we didn't see that before because we didn't have any flame to light up the targets. And so now we see how that looks. It doesn't look good. And the customer's like, oh man, I already gave you guys like $3-4 grand. Now I got to give you another $2. But you don't have that kind of situation with install. You scope out the deal. You tell them, hey, look, man, this is how much it's going to cost, blah, blah, blah. And you rip and run from there. Either they want you to do the install or they want someone else to do the install. But guess what? They have a $20,000 piece of equipment. It's got to be installed. Somebody's going to do it. All right. So back to Safesa, right? So with Safesa, once you send somebody there, yeah. So you can send them in there for refrigeration training. So you get somebody, send them off 5 days. It's a 5-day course, and they come back ready to rock and roll. Like this ice machine class, they have an ice machine class. Like I'm telling you guys day after day, week after week. Oh, when is class? When is class? Ooh, this is when the class is. You got to go there. You got to go here. Ooh, maybe it's going to be in your town. Maybe it's not. With Safesa, you're going to go from the 23rd to the 27th. It's all day. When you're done, you're going to be trained on 5 different brands of ice machines. You're going to be certified on 5 different brands of ice machines. They're going to satisfy that manufacturer's requirement that you have your annual training. And you're good to go. You're good to go. Now you can do Hoshizaki, Scotsman, Isomatic, Follett. What am I missing? Hoshizaki, Scotsman, Manitowoc, Follett. Who the hell is the 5th one? Anyway, so they said 5. So you be trained with 5. Man, I'm struggling. You be trained on all 5, right? And so, boom, you're done. You're done for the whole year. From the 23rd to the 27th in October, your ice machine training is done. It's over with. You're not running around trying to figure out where. Maybe it's going to be November, maybe January. Ooh, no, none of that. All done. All done. So you got that. Then they have training classes on fryers. And see, that's like I'm telling you guys, yeah, there's the Henny Penny classes coming up. And you have to go to Eaton, Ohio for the Henny Penny classes coming up. And even then, the Henny Penny class is full right now. So Henny Penny, did anybody see the information I put out on Henny Penny? Right? So instead of chasing all these different individual classes, if you join Safesa, pay the $3,000, and then you still have to pay for the classes. Now you're going to get Fry Master, which is the number 1 fryer, Henny Penny. So Fry Master is McDonald's, Wendy's, Taco Bell, all that kind of stuff. Henny Penny is going to be your chicken joints. And then Pitco is going to be your Wingstop. Pitco is going to be your Five Guys, stuff like that. Let me see if they have anybody else. So 1, 2, 3. So they're going to cover 3 of the most popular fryers, and everybody else is basically nobody's going to like me saying it, but everybody basically copies one of those 3 styles. Because Henny Penny does pressure cooking. Fry Master is they have a basket that lowers and raises, and they have a lot of electric fryers. And then Pitco has some stuff too. And then your combi oven from the 13th to the 17th. See, so your rationale, so you don't have to go to Chicago. Spend a week in Chicago. The rationale training alone is $2,700. $2,700 for the rationale training. AutoSham doesn't have training. AutoSham, you got to go and do these, like, I think they might have. Oh yeah, they do. What am I talking about? They have the online training with the Igniter group, with the Igniter Labs. AutoSham training is on Igniter, and then you have Cleveland Convotherm, right? So you have the Convotherm. So Rationale is number 1. It's arguably Cleveland is number 2. AutoSham is number 3. All depending on who you ask. I'm more partial to Rationale being number 1, AutoSham being number 2, Combo being number 3, and then you have all the rest after that. So for me, someone like me, it is well worth it alone just to go for the Rationale class. and the Alto Sham. The 13th to the 17th, and I would save myself so much time. So much time. And then the rest of these is the electric, gas, steam, water class, $850. Yeah, they're not even showing the cost of this class. So, all right, I am going to. Oh, see, that's not bad. The Combi Evan is only 400. It used to be a $2,000 class. Well, $800 class. Now, any other questions? Because I'm gonna wrap this up. I'm gonna wrap this up. But once you're a member of Safesa, you'll get all of these customers from cradle to grave. All of these customers from cradle to grave, because the people who sell these items can only use someone who is certified and trained on the item, especially to get the warranty. So if you're buying a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 combi oven, you're gonna want you're gonna want your warranty. All right, let me see here. You're gonna want your warranty when you're spending this much money on an oven. All right, you're spending 32,000, 31. I don't know where the $50,000 ones are. They're not showing me right now. These have to be installed by someone. And I'll just put it like this: I have never seen a non-Safesa member install a rationale. Everyone who puts one in has been a member of Safesa, especially in Chicago, in Texas, in Florida, everywhere I've ever been. They've always been a member of Safesa. So no one's going to force you to be a member of Safesa. I am not a member of Safesa. I consider it all the time, but you guys can't see this. I'm sorry. I think about it all the time, but it's just that I would be stuck forced to do these warranties and forced to do these startups for customers that are not mine, customers that I will never take care of. That's the downside. Yes, you're going to get paid, but a lot of these people won't be your customer. They won't be your customer. Oh, okay. All right. Student info. How long do these jobs take? In Resi, I know we're able to do 5 to 10 days. No. How long do the jobs take? Each one is different. I can go in there and slap together a deep fryer. If it's a single 40, 50 pound fry pot, I can go ahead and put one in less than an hour, right? But your costs are triple, are quadruple what you're charging in residential. No one is doing 10 jobs a day in commercial. It's just not happening. It's not happening. There's more care that needs to be done. These jobs are important. Residential is not important. Residential is not important. Residential is not important. Commercial is important. Commercial, they're using these things to generate money, they're making something with this. It has to work. It has to be up and usually when you go ahead and put this stuff in and put this stuff together, they're using it right then and there. They're using it right then and there. Right then and there. There's normally a number of people hanging over your shoulder ready to put fries in there or ready to put burgers on that grill or, ready to load up that freezer that you have just finished with. Oh, is it okay? I'm like, hey, man, that freezer's at 50 degrees. Oh, no, that's all right. It's fixed, though, right? Yeah, it's fixed. And they'll just start throwing food in there, So, no, you're not going to do, if you did if you were going to do 10 jobs a day, all right, let's see here, 10 jobs a day, and even if you were doing $850 a job, that's $8,500 a day. You know, that is hellified. That's nice. That's nice. It's really nice. But on commercial, you don't have to do that. There's no they're not price conscious like that on the commercial side because they need that to make money with. Right? No, and I prefer for you to ask all the questions, as many questions as you want. So now, my apps. You don't have the skills to do installs. Yeah, you do. Sylvester seems like something you would have to budget for next year. Yes. Now Sylvester will break it up into two payments. If you sign up like now, you only have to pay half. If you sign up, you only have to pay half. But then come January, you will have to pay for the full year. So, but it is pretty much instant as far as you're with Safesa. Those calls will come. You will get those calls because you'll be on that directory. And what happens is it's builders that call you, it's architects, it's designers, um, distributors, right? And so then they will call you. It's sort of like throwing chum in the water, and the customers are the sharks. You know, you're the chum, and they're just gonna be eating you up. Be honest with you. Be honest with you on that. So, but Safesa is premier. It is, you know, they're the first. They're the ones that's out there that has that cachet, and they have that pipeline. So once you're with them, you're in there. Once any member of Safesa can then rise up to become, you know, like those three guys you saw. So, all right. So are most of your installs one man job? Yeah, 99% of my installs are one man. I do get the occasional help every now and then. A friend of mine, Charles, he has three sons. Sometimes Charles will help me out if I need something. But equipment is a great equalizer. So the difference between a one man and a two man is the equipment. So I know I showed you guys videos of like the installing the walk-in boxes and all that. Say you need two people. If you have certain scaffolding, if you have people that are aware of those devices that they use for holding up drywall so that one person can do it, you have similar things like that with the walk-ins. So you have a hoist that you can use to bring up the evaporator. So now you don't have to have two people do it while you're brazing in the line set. You can just do it yourself. You bring in this ladder with a crank, lift this hoist to it, and it'll lift the shelf all the way up to the 8 feet or 10 feet up, and then you can get on a ladder and you can go ahead and connect your power and your line sets, right? And it's like that with a lot of other stuff. So either you get equipment or you actually get manpower. So, all right. But any other questions? Any other questions? All right. So I am going to wrap this up because I know for a lot of you it's midnight. It's midnight. So I just wanted to show you guys real quick what was what. All right. Well, thank you all for coming, and check out the replay. I'll leave this up. So the only time I take down a video is when I have to talk about money. If I talk about money, um, any type of things like that, then I got to take the video down. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing.